And it's also because they are absolutely desperate. Desperate! She sold out of 12 pots of jam, and she's got nothing else to spread other than her legs. So that's what she does. So that is precisely and literally what she does and has done. And she squats while she's doing it. I'm waning in the heat today, my dear, so you have to excuse me, but I needed a little bit of fanning, as one does from time to time. It's the first broadcast of the month. Welcome to June. So in that spirit, it's time for me to remind any of you who wish to be subscribed to this channel to check that you are still subscribed to it. Check that for me. Welcome, and thank you so much to anybody who sent a tip jar treat for a cup of coffee over the month of May. Every sip was much appreciated, most sincerely. Well, we've got quite a lot to discuss, haven't we? And much of it is extremely undignified. And I've got something to say about it. We've had a few more sneak peeks from the set of the new Wallace vehicle, or I should say the new vehicle for Dame Joan, who's playing Wallace Windsor, isn't she? Coming up, another little sneak peek of her wig from behind, the style she'll be wearing. I think it would rather suit Meghan, don't you? Perhaps she can put that in her collection of curls, and she shared another candid photograph there. Wonderful, wonderful, very exciting, and also exciting for David Beckham, isn't it? It seems like the word on the street is that an announcement is imminent with regards to him being knighted in the King's Birthday Honours list next week. So we shall see. Arise, Sir David, your time has come. All of that queuing up in the rain with the peasants and the paupers has paid off, hasn't it? Your time has come, Sir David. And really for Lady Victoria Beckham, as she will now be, Lady Beckham. Indeed, our posh spice finally gets a little sniff of that posh world that she oh so very craves. And that's as posh as that Spice Girl's gonna get, isn't it, my dears? Well, good luck to him, good luck to him. But I'm afraid we can't linger on such matters because we have other things to talk about. And that is Miss Ratchet, isn't it? The Ratchet Rachel and Harebrained Henry. They've gone viral. Doing the funky chicken. People are calling it twerking, all of this berserking around. I don't call that twerking, I call it tweaking. Tweaking maybe, or doing their funky chicken. No, it wasn't twerking. If you want twerking, go watch some Sissy Nobby, or some such expert, some such pro. No, it was no kind of dancehall styling, as far as I'm concerned, my dear, and I've been to the dance halls. It was an attempt at gyrating, a bit of bump and grind, the butterfly. Jack Frost was one of many who brought up this issue and said, Jack Frost, no, he didn't say Jack Frost, his name is Jack Frost, or her name. Jack Frost said, River, you called it 2 weeks ago. You said that Meghan has a stash of video footage of her pregnancies, all documented, that she's sitting on. Yes, I did, didn't I? But as more pictures emerge, as they will, as even video footage emerges of Meghan in future, as I am told behind the scenes, and I don't want to speak too much on this, but what I do know is that there is much video footage of Meghan pregnant, although I'm sure that the Yelpers will claim that it's AI or something unbelievable. That there's tons, reams and reams. This is Harry and Meghan we're talking about. They got both pregnancies on both photograph and video, and I've got a feeling you'll be seeing that in the future. Today she released one of them, and it shows her and Harry up as the tasteless clowns they are. Excited to hear your thoughts. Why on earth did they think this was a good idea? Ha! Well, Jack Frost, Jackie dear, yes, I did share that information with you, the information that I'd been given, and yes, it swiftly came to pass, as it almost always does when I share a whisper. Almost immediately, it comes to pass. I said that she's got videos and she's got photos, and you'll be seeing more and more and more after the glimpse she gave us the other week. And of course, immediately, a video emerges. So, you know, I don't just spout sophistry as I'm sitting here, my dears. And I'm here to tell you, right now, that it is my understanding that more will be shared in time. In time. Might be a long time, but it's coming. And remember, there will be a memoir coming. Whether it's now or when William ascends the throne, much to Harry's chagrin. They are sitting on these eggs, and they'll hatch at a time that the Harkles feel is right for them, and that they feel is advantageous for them. But just for one cotton-picking moment, I thought that I hadn't pressed record. That is not fun when that happens, my dear, but it looks like it's recording. So, good. Excuse me. Why did they think it a good idea, you ask? Well, because they're publicity junkies, my dear. Or I should say publicity whores. And I've got no problem with whores. I've been a bit of a whore myself from time to time. But it is the publicity-seeking nature of publicity whores when they are claiming that they want such privacy. They want to draw a discreet veil over their shenanigans. That rankles, doesn't it, my dear? It's the hypocrisy. And it's also because they are absolutely desperate. Desperate! She sold out of 12 pots of jam, and she's got nothing else to spread other than her legs. So that's what she does. So that is precisely and literally what she does and has done. And she squats while she's doing it. You couldn't make it up, could you? Absolutely desperate for relevancy. To keep the Judas coins coming in. And they're prepared to sell and surrender absolutely everything, including their dignity. And that ain't worth much anymore, is it? That's on the sale hanger. And I got to tell you, we all know that King Charles has got his detractors. I don't pretend that he's universally adored in the way that the late Queen Liz was. Far from it. He has not led a blameless life, and he harbours views that some people don't, and that rankles. But having said all of that, and taking all of his behaviours into consideration, and most of his so-called bad behaviour, if you term his adultery and this sort of thing as bad behaviour, has been part of his personal and private life, not his public service. Aside from that, our king is a class act, and an elegant man, and the vast majority of the members of the royal family are elegant and diligent public servants, save Harry and his wife. Save the Sussexes. I mean, compare and contrast with the Waleses. And you don't even have to compare and contrast as royals, just as people. Compare the quality. It's like comparing Dior with Primark. Do you understand? I can't imagine Queen Camilla twerking about in that manner, can you? I'll call it twerking. It wasn't really twerking. It was going berserking, but for the sake of this episode. Can you imagine Camilla twerking away? Well, actually, maybe after a tipple or two, a few ciggies with Charlie boy, but I can't really imagine her twerking away to induce labour after a curry, as Meghan tells us that she was wont to do. And as for Catherine and William, well, perhaps a shy little wriggle here or there. We all know that they got jiggy with it in the realms, didn't they? They got a little bit jiggy with it and showed a few moves. But they don't capture these sort of things on video, certainly not during Labour, for posterity. Now, Mickey and Zara Tindall, yes, one can imagine them getting on down, can't one? The Yorkie girls, maybe usually behind closed doors, but behind closed doors, not in a sort of TikTok vignette to be brandished to the world, no. Because none of them would besmirch and denigrate the dignity of the House of Windsor. They wouldn't dare do it. They wouldn't want to do it. With such shenanigans and with such tomfoolery. No, you don't see it, you wouldn't see it. And Harry, as I say, I mean, the vision of him, he wasn't twerking, he was tweaking, like Beaker. What was his name, Beaker? Yeah, one of those Muppets or Fraggles or... who were they? Yeah, I think it was the Muppets or Beaker. He was a tweaker like Beaker. And in this footage, at least it looks as if Meghan's got a bit of an arse on her. Because usually there's not much meat on the bone, but she's got something going on there whether or not it's meat or upholstery. She's got something going on, whether or not she's wearing a bustle. She's got something going on there while she's gestating for Harry's bony white ass. That bony white arse is not something that I ever want presented in my face, contrary to rumour. And, he's tweaking around the ward, the hospital ward or the clinic ward, like Eminem on stilts in a hoodie. He looked like a homeless addict tweaking around the room. They both do, don't they? They look like street junkies. Street junkies tweaking around. And actually that does a great disservice to street junkies, so I apologise to any who might be watching. Some have been calling him an overexcited flamingo, and I can see why. Do you remember back in the day when Meghan was on Oprah Winfrey and she was talking about creating a spectacle for the peasants and the paupers? We wanted to give them this spectacle while we had our own private wedding ceremony, our real wedding. Well, the spectacle that she offers us today is the sight of her squatting. The mighty Adamazi, also known as Legs Akimbo, lives up to her name, doesn't she? Legs Akimbo, with the late Queen's namesake half hanging out of her vagina. Half hanging out of her Elizabeth vagina. Can you believe it? This is a Duchess of the Kingdom. Squatting. Crowning. Dilating. Whatever you want to call it, my dear. Foaming at the mouth. The mind boggles. And this is all part of a sexualised dance. Let's not forget that. It's not some innocent jig. She's sexualising the whole affair. While Lily is trying to escape from the pad, And I call this a dance in the scantest sense of the word. I mean, it's not exactly what you'd see in Covent Garden at the ballet, is it? At the Royal Ballet. If you remember old Fergie, the lurgy, our Sarah York, she took indignities of a duchess to what we thought was some kind of limit back in the day, didn't she? With all that toe sucking and that sort of thing. But compare Sarah York to Meghan Sussex, and Sarah York becomes the end in tasteful composure, doesn't she? The end in dignity and elegance when you compare the apple with the orange. Can you imagine? Please, tell me, can you imagine the Duchess of Gloucester spreading her jambon and carpet bagging in this way? Meghan's probably teabagging too while she's at it. I wouldn't put that past her, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a set of hairy balls hiding beneath that undercarriage. I wouldn't be surprised. Can you envisage the Duchess of Kent crouching with spread-eagled flaps and a mucus plug? Or any other duchess, or the servant of any other duchess behaving in such a way. Any remaining pretence to any dignity or decorum or decorousness is dashed, and I'm afraid it is absolutely done. And of course, my dears, the vulgarity on toast of this entire scenario, the vulgarity on toast is that the scenario was filmed at all. Like a pair of tick-tocking juveniles. It's brazen, it's shameless, and it's wanton. And she introduced this constant documenting of their love story into the mix, didn't she? She introduced it into Harry's field of vision, and he laps it up like the lapdog, pussy-whipped boy that he is. And she seems more concerned, as does he, with their story than real life. They've become like this generation of TikTokers, or people that live day to day, hour to hour, minute by minute on their socials, become obsessed with that lens and the way that the world sees their narrative rather than real life. This is real life to them. He's the dragon slayer. She's the princess, the silenced princess that's been rescued, and she's going to rescue him right back. And here she's the Terence Trent D'Arby, advertising eternity by Calvin Klein. She'll rustle up any image for attention. And here she's clutching the fruit of her curry and twerking jamboree. And have no doubt about it. Have no doubt the fact that she and her Duke most certainly indulged in the other activity said to bring on labour. In fact, that probably went on in that very room seconds earlier or seconds afterwards, after she spread her squatted legs. And it won't surprise me if that was recorded and if it pops up on OnlyFans when the cash starts running thin. Do you understand? Nothing would surprise me. Of course, it's fuel to the flame for all of her detractors and for the conspiracy theorists. They love it. It doesn't put them off the scent. It fuels their fire. It fuels their flame, you see. It makes them more insistent. So I'm mainly speaking to the rest of you, the majority of you who have got your heads screwed on. The other ones, I just ignore the noise. And they do make a bit of a din. But, the rest of you, the majority, are not the gullible ones and not the crazy ones. No. And as I've told you, it is my understanding, and time reveals, it is my understanding that more irrefutable, if you want to call it, proof is to come of her pregnancies. But she's enjoying baiting the trolls, and they are very easy to bait, actually, very easy to bait. I'm talking about the very vocal minority that go along with the conspiracy theories. They're very easy to play with, so certain are they in their delusions. So she makes the most of it, and she'll toy with them until she no longer wants to. We have a defender of the Markles in our midst, and that's all very well and good. A bit of variety is a spice of life. Carolyn Morton. Unless you're simply doing this for attention, in which case, congratulations, I shall crown you with some attention for a few minutes, my dear. Be careful what you wish for. WM is not king. I presume you mean William, Prince William. WM is not king, and anything can happen in between. Prince Harry and Princess Meghan would make a better king and queen, and your Brits know it. No weapons formed against Prince Harry and Princess Meghan shall prosper. Well, my only response to your assertion, my dear, other than my own laughter at your temerity and ludicrousness, is this image. That is my response to your assertion that they would make a better king and queen than the Waleses? I really don't have the words, I really don't need the words. But if this is your King Henry IX and your Queen Consort Meghan, well, all I can say is keep taking the pills, my dear, or maybe come off of them. It's true to say that Catherine famously wore a gauzy sort of sheer number, didn't she? That dress on the runway years ago when she was a student. In her student days, and she was naive enough to be captured topless, wasn't she, on the balcony. I actually thought that was very foolish of her. Not saying that it gave anybody the moral right to take those long lens photographs of the topless Duchess as she was. Or was she still fiancée at that time? But at any rate, I actually think it was incredibly foolish of Catherine, not just naive, but nevertheless a nasty experience for her. But regardless, sheer dress or topless photographs captured, nothing remotely anywhere near as infra-dig as the Harkle display that we have seen this week and over the last few years. And I'll be clear, I've had many vulgar and brazen moments of my own throughout my life, in fact, every day. I have many elegant moments too, but I'm also full of vulgarity and brazenness, and, I perform the odd slut drop or two, and a bit of bumping and grinding doesn't go amiss. I've danced the butterfly at the dance hall, and I've busted a move with my home girls, you understand, and me brethren, many a time, and I make no apologies for it, and I'm no saint, but I'm not a public servant. I'm not a public servant, nor brandishing a royal title with which to denigrate. Remember, they're so insistent on their titles and their titles for their children, and then they behave in this manner. One could be perhaps more lenient in some small way if they'd just completely removed themselves from any royal association, but they continue to march upon it and use it and insist on keeping all of those trappings, and then they're going to squat. And then they're going to squat and twerk and tweak and rub all over town. I don't think so, my dear. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. Dancing, the butterfly, until some sort of caterpillar comes out of that cocoon. You know, during a geriatric pregnancy. No, that is not the behaviour typically associated with the wife of a British duke. But this duke is Harry, isn't it? The Duke of Puke. He can't be king, so he wants to piss all over Pa and Willie's legacy. And their trajectory, he wants to piss all over it, and all the gloves are off. He doesn't care how it looks, who he upsets. He wants to upset the apple cart because he can't get over his destiny as the spare. And it's no wonder, isn't it, that they are so camera shy. Oh, the helicopters, the paparazzi are coming for us as we hide away at Tyler Perry's mansion and in our enclave. The helicopters, they're everywhere like birds in the sky, like stars in the sky. They've been replaced by the paps that are just after our beauty. Because we're the biggest story in the world. Give us our privacy. Give us our privacy, she says, squatting and showing off her vagina. Where was I? Yeah. They came to be camera shy for the helicopters. But now we know why they're camera shy, because they prefer their own selfies, don't they? They prefer taking their own selfies, documenting themselves. And she says, oh, H, my darling ginger boy, I'll go down. I'll go down and play on your pink pipe. Yes, I will. My favourite mouth organ. Oh, I love that organ of yours, Harry. I really do. Your todger. On one condition, that we get it all on camera. Yes, set it up, Joe. Set him up. Let's get ready for action. Get the clapperboard out and get out your selfie stick, Harry. Yes, get out your selfie stick and I'll play with it. I'm going to play with it. It's not the most impressive joystick in the world. It's not like Big Willie's, but you know, I'll have a nibble, I suppose. I'll have a nibble if you get the camera out, so we've got it documented. You know, it's not frostbitten this time, I hope, because it gets in between my teeth. So, but otherwise, I'll have a nibble if the camera's running. Yeah, this is the kind of affair that they're into. And he says, squat for me, Megs. Come on, then you can play with my pink pipe. Your favourite mouth organ. If you squat for me again, squat and gyrate for me. That would be really such a turn on now that you're postpartum and all a bit baggy and everything's flapping about. Squat for me, my dear. Squat for me, because your hemorrhoids, my darling, your hemorrhoids are quite photogenic. They are truly photogenic. So, yeah, bend for me. Let me see from behind. Oh, yeah, darling. That is quite a vision. It's like a bunch of grapes hanging down from the vineyards of California. Yeah. Make love to the camera, Meggie. Make love just like Marilyn Markle. The camera loves you. I love you. My pink pipes loves you. So have a good old nibble on my pink pipe organ, my dear, while I turn the camera lens to your hemorrhoids and to your gestational squattage, because it's extremely royal and it's extremely regal. And we can make some money out of this, my dear. When the coffers need refilling. Yeah. You have to understand, my dear, that they failed in their grand mission. Their grand mission to denigrate Pa and Willie, didn't they? To destroy the crown by destroying Charles and Camilla and coming after them, and William and Catherine and everyone else. And all they've got left now, because that didn't work, lovies, that didn't work. All they've got left is to denigrate themselves. Even denigrating the press and the media didn't work. So they can only denigrate themselves in the hope that it will tarnish the international image of royalty. They're giving it a really good go, but the funny thing is, and the quiz is, that it actually only enhances William and Catherine with the contrast, doesn't it? With the compare and the contrast of the two, it only enhances the image of royalty, I'm afraid. And they really weren't expecting that. So they keep trying harder and harder and harder. And the contrast only keeps intensifying between the two. It's wonderful. But this reveal of Meghan's was actually foreshadowed in Spare. Yes, it was. It was foreshadowed in his tome. He said in that book, "Nothing but joy and love in that room. We ate, and then did the baby mama dance around the hospital room." So he had nodded towards this before. And there's zero regard, isn't there? Zero regard for the fact that in this footage, Meghan is carrying the king's granddaughter. The king of this country and all his realms. She's carrying his daughter and her princely seed, and she's twatting around like this, my dear, squatting and twatting. You know, carrying a royal princess named after the late Eliza. Trash! It's rather nice that I'm wearing lemon today, a shade of lemon, if that's coming across, because it puts one in mind of oranges and lemons. Say the bells of St. Clement's. You remember that nursery rhyme, my dear? Do you have that abroad? I like the imagery of oranges and lemons. Another line from that is, "When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey? When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch." Well, the king's been in Shoreditch. Yes, he has. Hosted for the first time in Europe, the king visited South by Southwest London, a culture, technology and creativity festival in Shoreditch, East London. Originating in Austin, Texas, the festival celebrates creative industry and supports emerging artists and innovative projects. The king joined delegates from 56 nations and toured an immersive art installation using AI to morph landscapes and reflect the natural world. In the heart of Shoreditch, a special reception was gathered with local artists and residents, and he was told that he is more handsome in the flesh, which is something I've tried to relate to you on a number of occasions, including recently. I tried to hammer that home. Oh, he's a good-looking man. And one of these peasants and paupers confirms the fact. Well, this Shoreditch area, for those of you who are familiar with the kingdom, it has a wonderful market area called Spitalfield. It's a really lovely part of town, actually. I've got to tell you, similar to Camden, it's had a lot of the heart and soul and the charm ripped out of it in very recent decades, I'm afraid. Through development, I mean, you can't stop progress, can you, as they say in Muriel's wedding? You can't stop progress. The march of progress, I'm afraid, it tramples over some of the charms of the kingdom, but there is still much charm to be found, of course, and it's still an area which is deeply, richly drenched in history and with history. And Thursdays at Old Spitalfields Market is Antiques Thursday, for those of you who like rummaging for a bargain in the old antiques. Well, His Majesty toured around the market and he spoke to the stall holders, and there's been a regular market in Spitalfield since 1682, when Charles II granted a royal charter for a market to be held on the site every Thursday and Saturday. And his consort, Her Majesty Queen Camilla, was stunning in her scallop-edged blue number that we've seen on a number of occasions, meeting community leaders and stallholders in the Northumberland market town of Hexham. She was rummaging about with delicious-looking jams and conserves there. Wonderful. I'm sure they're much tastier than Meghan's spread. She received bouquets and well-wishes, and she was shown around Hexham Abbey. She even managed to stop off at the racecourse to unveil a plaque. And earlier in the week, Her Majesty, in polka dots, was at the Garden Museum for the latest exhibition of British Flowers Week. It featured 6 immersive floral installations celebrating local and seasonal British cut flowers. She joined school children to learn about the biology of the tea plant and how to make herbal tea bags. I think she plumped for mint flavour. I do like a nice refreshing mint tea, fresh if possible, but there are some pretty good bags around. Watch out as ever. I'm sure the Queen's concoction is rather more palatable than yours. And Annie Royal was received overseas, wasn't she, by the President and the Prime Minister of Barbados. Her Royal Highness laid a wreath at the Commonwealth War Grave Cemetery in remembrance of Barbadian merchant seamen who served in the war. She celebrated the 70th anniversary of the Barbados Olympic Association, visited members of the Barbados Defence Force and volunteers at a field medical hospital in Paragon Base, and she attended the Duke of Edinburgh's Commonwealth Study Conferences. She took over from Philip as president of that some years ago, and it's a forum where emerging leaders from diverse backgrounds come together to examine complex social and economic issues. See, all of this was happening way before the Harkles started dipping their oar in. And our darling Princess Royal has a birthday looming, doesn't she? In August, 15th of August, I think. Yeah, she's going to be entering her winter season. Yes, she is. Yes, she's going to be turning 75 on the 15th of August. And in recognition of this fact, now that she is returned from Barbados and brought together her affiliated charities this morning at a special forum at Buckingham Palace. And this event focused on challenges that are facing the sector, public trust in charities, the opportunities and risks that are presented by new technologies. She said the responsibility and respect that you give to your own organisations, the people who work for you, and your own beneficiaries is always the key to what makes you so important. Respect and responsibility. Thank you very much for doing what you do. And respect and responsibility is a lesson that Harry and the infradig squatting Meghan Markle cannot and will not ever learn. They don't give it, they don't get it. Do you understand? Get it, got it, good. Thank you for sharing your respect with me, my dear, and your time. I appreciate your company very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next broadcast. Join me then. See you next time. Ta-ra, and toodle-pip.